So next up, we have Virgil from the Ethereum Foundation. So as we were saying yesterday, Virgil has really been probably the single individual that started all of the thawing of tensions between the Ethereum and Ethereum Classic side.
I think it was my idea. It was my idea, but I can't take credit for it.
Yes, you can.
Yes, you can, and you should. So, you know, as I said yesterday, for anyone who didn't hear yesterday, so it was Virgil who had the idea, though he can't take credit for it. I don't know why. Why can't you take credit?
No, I mean, Anthony. Anthony and you guys.
But you made the invite.
Sure. Well, I mean, that was my idea.
You did the initial...
I mean, all right. Well, okay, I will accept the seed. But no, it's really you guys that have done this. I mean, like, so okay. I remember at the last ETC summit, you know, we were like in a basement, and you know, here we are. We have this, you know, well, number one, it's larger. You know, it's a lot more kumbaya with like beautiful light. Like, no, I think this is kind of a reflection of, you know, how much ETC has changed over the past year. No, like, things are looking good. Things are looking good. Yeah.
So yeah, just to reiterate the story there, which was that, you know, Virgil had the idea of inviting Anthony along to EdCon in Toronto. So Anthony had started as the first director of the co-op in February 2014. So then in May 2018, sorry. So then in May 2018, Anthony was, you know, the first ever classic speaker at an Ethereum event. You know, it was a really big deal. And I mean, as Anthony wrote at the time, like, so Vitalik came to your talk, right?
Yeah, Vitalik and a couple other people, they watched the
And Carl Fleusch, you were saying as well.
They liked my jokes, so that was good.
They liked your jokes? Brilliant. So then, I first met Anthony at that event. And Virgil had been invited back to come and speak in Korea on a very similar theme.
It's always the same title.
Is positive sum games. It's really the fact that, you know, blockchain allows you to transform zero-sum games into positive-sum games. It's an amazing ability. And what that means is that people who hate each other can actually collaborate. And this, again, was something that popped up in our speaker dinner yesterday. Within ETC, yes, we still have people, maybe hate is too strong a word, seriously distrust motives of, shall we say.
Yeah.
But the thing is, we can still work together because we can align incentives. And I think the same is exactly true of Ethereum and Ethereum Classic.
Agreed. No, the relationship between ETH and ETH, well, I guess we'll talk about it in the talk. No, the relationship is getting, it's getting a lot easier. Well, we'll just wait for the talk.
But anyway, Virgil was the one that did the prod that started this.
All right. So, hi, I'm Virgil. I guess you thank you for the introduction. Yeah, no, I do my best. Y'all are. I mean, no worries. I mean, y'all are worth it. I mean, frankly, I think from the ETH perspective, I mean, you're like an untapped asset, and so feel good. So, all right. So let's just count out what's been happening. So in short, so for a while, you know, I mean, I guess, well, when ETC split off, well, not only was there, you know, a little bit of social disharmony, but there was believed that, oh, like we are like directly competing with between ETH and ETC, and that was you know, kind of the vibe. But with Ethereum's move to proof of stake, you know, I mean, I think actually Yaz mentioned, say, oh, well, you have all this existing infrastructure, you know, that you've already developed. And I'm like, well, yeah, sure. And you say, well, you know, what are you going to do with it? And I was like, well, I mean, I don't know. I guess we're going to archive it on GitHub. And he's like, well, I mean, do you think we could use some of that? And I'm like, oh, well, that hadn't really occurred to me before. But I guess. I mean, I don't know. Don't hold me to that. But like in principle, this sounds reasonable. Yeah. So, and I think that's kind of like kind of still where we are. So we're still at this point where, with Ethereum's move to proof of stake, new things are possible. What exactly is possible? We're not really too sure. But fortunately, we have about 12 to 18 months to figure it out. So, and that's actually a pretty long time in crypto time. So yeah, so like even like a year from now, we still have to have this figured out. So a lot of things happening now. So we're bringing Bob and Terry. They're actually getting pretty good speaking slots at DEF CON, and it's kind of a re-get to know you, from, I guess, for the ETH world, just to like sort of see, oh, ETC, how you been doing? And so I guess we'll just kind of see, like, just kind of roughly how that goes. But I am cautiously optimistic. So, all right, so that's kind of where we are in new collaborations. There's been a lot of great things happening this past year. So I mean, I guess we got the Peace Bridge, and we got the Ether cluster, and I don't know, just in general, I mean, y'all are just building all kinds of lovely things. Or the Open RPC. No, it's like, and these are all things that have kind of bugged us for a while. Like, so let's pick Ether cluster as an example. So, I mean, even though in ETHland, we all use Infura, but we all know it's kind of dirty. Like, we all feel like a little bit of sin when we do it. But you're like, well, it's just so convenient. And but we all say, okay, well, we will eventually getting around to finding something to replace this. And and Yash can say, hey, you know that thing you've wanted to do? It's like, hey, well, I just did it. It's like, thanks, man. Like, that's like, yeah. So I think there's probably I imagine there'll be more things like that with ETC fixing, I guess, kind of these kind of smaller pain points. There's like a major pain point. I mean, EF would just put in $10 million and just fix it, but like most things aren't that. So yeah. Anyway, so okay, so that's kind of where we are. So basically, congrats, y'all are like we're both doing great. All right, so it remains a little unclear exactly what the ETH-ETC relationship will look like after proof of stake. So I guess we're still figuring that out. Yeah, so deep collaboration, yeah, that's right. I think the main thing to say is that the relationship between ETH and ETC, I guess before, like, the door was closed, now the door is open, and we're sort of like getting to know each other. And so if you have, I guess, if you have things that are like contentious or something like that, could you just like keep it to yourself for like maybe like 4 months, something like that? I mean, it's kind of a fragile time right now. And I mean, I'm confident we are going to fight at some point in the future, but like, try not to fight within the next 4 to 5 months. All right. So okay, so these are some of the immediate things that I think that the ETHland would appreciate from ETC. So I mean, from ETHland's perspective is, well, so I mean, I guess we want to know to what extent would we be comfortable, I guess, with some members of ETC, whether it be like the cooperative or ETC labs, being, I guess managing some of the roadmap, and I guess we're not really sure. But the more useful things we see from ETC, I guess the better. So these are some things that initially come to mind. So the Jade Explorer and the rest of the Jade suite working on ETH would be very handy. There have also still been, so I guess this is more than the ideas of future things that, I guess, how ETC could relate to each other after the proof-of-stake transition. Vitalik himself proposed that, that ETC could be used as sort of a data availability layer. So this is actually fits kind of nice. So, I mean, so ETC, it kind of prides itself on being this sort of a maximally secure, trusted layer. And you're like, oh, well, you know, so imagine I'm like running Tor or something, you know, it's like, I'm not going to trust that to ETH because, I mean, you know, they did the DAO, so I'm only going to do it on ETC. But I could imagine these people still wanting to have sort of some connection to ETH for the larger interoperability. So you'd say, oh, well, okay, well, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to launch it on ETH for the interoperability, but I'm going to do all the data I possibly can on ETC. And you know, hey man, I think that's a niche. I think that's a niche, and I think y'all have both the history and the temperament to own it. All right, so another one, using ETC as a trustless gateway. The idea, well, okay, so the idea behind this one is roughly that you could. So the idea is that basically you do a copy of the deposit contract, I guess, the ETH2 deposit contract on ETC, and under some conditions it will be easier to use that than going straight to ETH2. Well, anyway, so these are both just like ideas. We don't don't hold us to these. But the fact is that this is now being openly discussed, and we still got another year and a half to go to come up with even more ideas. All right, so there's some other ideas. So there are some ETH1X clients, and we're not entirely sure. Well, I mean, I guess y'all get to decide. So as ETH2, so funding is kind of being split right now between ETH1 and ETH2. I mean, eventually the funding will go like largely to ETH1, and then, well, I mean, I guess sorry, when we go to ETH2, then the ETH1 people will be, I mean, I guess they'll be looking for new friends, or at least new funders. So I don't know. So I think this is kind of ETC's opportunity. So I guess if there's any clients that you're like really into, maybe you should start talking to them, and yeah. So let's see, warranted chain research. Okay, so this is an idea that also came. This is kind of similar to the data availability layer. So there's a group within the ETH world called Cosmos. And so we've never actually like directly worked with Cosmos, but they seem nice enough. And so they always wanted to get some kind of bindings for their inter-blockchain protocol. And now I actually think so for ETH. Well, I mean, I guess we'll see. But I actually think for ETC, this really makes a lot of sense. It has the same idea. It's like, hey, no, we are the maximally secure baseline layer for other things. And so, and it makes sense to, I guess, have a lot of options where I can put data or store state on ETC to be used on other chains. So I guess Cosmos. I mean, so I guess if you think this is a good idea and you like want to make a new friend, Cosmos is a very reasonable choice. So this Lightfly client stuff, it's basically the same thing. It's this idea of what are ways that you could use ETC that you have other chains read from the ETC state easily. And so one thing we've often wanted is I guess better light client support. So that way we don't have to always use Infura all the time. So and I don't know, y'all seem like really into this kind of stuff. So that's also a good port of collaborations. Wrong button. Okay, all right, so I mean, that's basically it. I mean, so this is sort of like what I imagine, the direction, I guess the direction has been, I guess, for the past year, and will it be, and what it will be for the coming year. So I guess just to reiterate, I mean, we're sort of doing like a re-get to know you, and we'll just kind of, I mean, I guess we'll know in about 4 months kind of how that went. And so, yeah. All right. So that's kind of the main bit. This is the second part. This is just sort of so I work in a group called Special Projects, and was these sort of things that just might interest y'all. So here's something. So a long time ago, so I imagined in Ethereum, what we essentially have is like an unregulated market. And we all know that markets become diseased in different ways. So I was like, oh, okay. Like, it's like, so I want to get like a book on the history of financial regulations. Fascinating topic, I know. And I could imagine saying, okay, like, what was the first financial regulation? Because I say, oh, I imagine Ethereum would kind of replay the tape of like awful things happening throughout history. And it's like, oh, this would be like coming attractions. And so one of the earliest ones of codified financial regulations was from Islam. And so I was reading about those, and I was like, hey, actually Ether satisfies a lot of these things. And I was like, really, I was very amused by this. And so I live in Singapore, and I asked some of my Malay friends, say, hey, am I nuts? It really sounds like Ether, might actually be the currency as Muhammad intended it. And they basically said, no, you're not crazy. And so went to go talk to the Saudis and the Malaysians, and yeah, and so in short, so we've now gotten a fatwa. So we've gotten a fatwa declaring Ether to be a Sharia-compliant asset. And what exactly to do? So, okay, the nice thing about this is that everything in this documentation, it also applies to ETC. So congratulations, you are also now Sharia compliant. If you want to, you can Google it. You can read all about it. What exactly to do with this? I mean, I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure what to do with this. So I guess if any of you have connections in the Middle East that I guess care about that kind of thing, well, you're in luck. So I guess this is sort of a gift. Whatever you can do with it, just like run with it. All right, and it's also just like, I mean, it's kind of fun. Like so the next one is to try and get Ether blessed by the Vatican. That's the next one. So I mean, we'll see. All right, so this is another kind of fun idea. I mean, this is about proof of stake. So I remember a while ago, Vitalik asked me, Virgil, what concerns you most about proof of stake? And I said, well, your OPSEC requirements like go up like crazy because if you're doing proof of stake and you get owned, someone can cause you to get slashed. And I mean, that's pretty bad, bro. That's pretty bad. And he's like, well, could you fix that? So here was kind of the idea. So the idea was, instead of putting your crypto key on your staking node, you can put it on like a hardware wallet, like via USB, and then you put like a Raspberry Pi in the middle. And then you ask for signatures from the hardware wallet. And the Raspberry sits in the middle and it looks at all the votes coming out of the wallet. And if it sees a vote that would cause you to get slashed, it just refuses to relay it. And you're like, okay, so as long as this physical thing is plugged in, you just can't get slashed. I mean, unless you're just kind of hacking through the USB, in which case, you've earned it. That's very impressive. But yeah, so that's kind of the idea. I think this is actually, I guess the main interesting thing is that a lot of your concerns about proof of stake, I guess we hear you, and I guess we are trying to exert due diligence to make these things better. One nice thing, so the Raspberry Pi is the most obvious way to do this. One thing that might interest y'all, so I mentioned this idea, and some people at Intel came up to me and said, hey, well, how about instead of using a Raspberry Pi, you could use these trusted enclave things, and you probably already have them on your chip anyway. And I said, well, the Raspberry Pi is certainly the cleaner solution, but I mean, it would be nice if we don't have to have, this extra hardware thing you got to plug in all the time. So one possible idea I could imagine is that so you could get a lot of this similar kind of functionality for free just by always putting your crypto keys inside these enclaves. So so actually I was kind of wondered. I mean, we're getting a little bit off topic, but I also wondered, I'm inclined to think like a private key should never touch disk. Like the SSH keys should just never touch disk, ever. You know, and like the second you get them, they should immediately go into an enclave in which it does signatures. So that way, even if Intel has done this horrible thing where they've backdoored it, I mean, you still degenerate to the current security model where you're just putting the keys in plain text. So it's like a strict improvement. Okay, that's a neat thing. So it's a proof of stake. So okay. Here's something y'all might like. So one of our biggest wins of this year is Microsoft is now on Team Ethereum, and they're making lovely developer tools. So the biggest ones are this Azure Blockchain Workbench and this Azure Blockchain Development Kit. I suspect with just switching out a configuration file, you could probably make this work on Ethereum Classic. I mean, I haven't looked into it, but pretty sure you can. I mean, especially with the increasing compatibility. So I guess, you know, so if ETC wants, I mean, frankly, some of the best developer tools, you know, you can get, well, hey, you know, it's yours. Enjoy. So yeah. All right, so here's kind of the next thing I think the EF can offer the ETC world. So we've had this issues, I guess, well, all right, so I'll tell you how this began. Let's do the story. So we've had the EIPs, you know, and you know, we've kind of been doing this ourselves. But frankly, like standards work, I mean, it's harder than you'd think. It's harder than you'd think. And a lot of people said, oh, well, you know, you should join some kind of standards organization. So okay. So we originally proposed going with the IETF because, you know, I mean, everyone goes for IETF. But the IETF, I mean, in short, the bureaucracy for it was just like miserable. So it's like, okay, all right, well, we can't do that. But we also don't want to go it alone either. So we found this group called Oasis. They've been involved in the crypto space. Well, I mean, I guess like traditional cryptography for a while. Were their first blockchain thing. And so in short, they offer like a standards consultant. So you work with them and they give you like a referee. And the referee will give you like a process and like expert knowledge and experience, you know, for helping you run your standards group. And so Ethereum has joined it, and so we are now creating the first few working groups to generate higher quality ERCs. So this seems like something. So I mean, I presume ERC should be something that probably ETH and ETC should. I mean, presumably share. I mean, maybe like 100%. And yeah, so if any of y'all would like to help create ERCs and you would like us to, you know, help foot the bill for your referee to like help you make this happen, well, you know, this is very much on the table. So we've now created, well, right now there's only one working group so far on this thing called TokenScript. We'll be making a second working group probably about OpenRPC. And I guess if you want to do a third one and you want to create ERCs, come talk to me. All right, yeah. So this is kind of the same. This is the same basic idea. So this is just kind of telling you how it works. In short, there's this project governing board. I mean, it's like composed like EF, consensus. Who else is on it? I guess those are the main ones on it. Ethereum Enterprise Alliance. But so basically they create these little working groups or technical steering committees where like most of the work gets done. So the idea is, so if you wanted to do this, we would create a new technical steering committee for you, like for your project, and you could mostly ignore the project governing board unless your technical steering committee starts fighting within itself. All right, so that's kind of the thing. So all right, so I'm about done. So in closing, no, I mean, like, we're doing great. We're doing great. You know, this past year, like, if we can just repeat the success of the previous year with next year, man, like life is looking really good for ETC. And so my advice, so kind of in this sort of get to know you kind of phase, with Ethland, my advice is to look to the future, not dwell on the past. I mean, we don't really think about the DAO very much, and I understand those kind of like a shared trauma for this world. So, but still, like I recommend, instead of talking about times when we fought, we should be looking instead to future things we could hypothetically do. Yeah, so I think that's basically kind of it. So Yeah, no, so we have plenty to figure this out. Be patient. Realistically, it's going to take ETHland at least 8 months before they can get, I guess, really comfortable with you guys. So just accept that. Just like accept that. All right. Well, I feel pretty good. Happy to be here. I guess we have questions. Sure.
Great talk, and it's exciting to see the bridges being built. When ETH moves to proof of stake, how do you think about the miners that are on ETH right now, and what do you think are kind of the range of outcomes as to how that part of the industry is impacted, and what perhaps ETC can do to help ETH in that scenario?
I'm not entirely sure. So one nice thing is that unlike say Bitcoin, where there's a very sort of antagonistic relationship between I guess the dev team and the miners. We kind of told the miners at the very beginning that we're eventually going to be like getting rid of them, and like they said, oh okay. I mean they have like very diminished expectations. So we've actually been like basically like riding off that kind of since then. Like I remember when we did the issuance reduction. There actually was an attempt at so I think it was like it was the Byzantium or Constantinople, one of those two. And so they took in all the changes except for the issuance reduction. And it was this fork called Ethereum Vega. And but no, so I think there was like 2 or 3 miners. There's like, oh well, there's no reason we should vote against our economic self-interest. But no, the other miners just didn't do it. And it was just like, oh man, thanks guys. Like that really makes our life easier. So in short, what the miners will do, I don't know, but they seem to be a pretty chill bunch. So I don't imagine we'll have to do any kind of hardball. I imagine some of this might be easier because given most ETH mining is GPU based, they aren't as like locked in. So I mean, if ETH went full proof of stake tomorrow, I mean, there's plenty of other places they can go. Yeah, I guess we have it kind of lucky in that way. So I don't know. I know that's not exactly answering your question. I don't know the answer, but that's the context I got for you. All right. Sure, why not? We're having a lot of fun.
So you guys do the like weekly or some cadence to dev calls. I'm wondering if there's any opportunity for any of the ETC developers to attend those, and if so, what we can kind of bring to those meetings, if anything. That's
a good question. So I actually usually don't go to those calls. But they are open. So in principle,
they are open.
Oh, okay. So I guess
they are open.
Do you go to those calls?
I have occasionally.
Okay, all right.
If you go to the All Core Devs Gitter channel, which is open, there is a link. So it's bi-weekly. They occur on a Friday, and it's like 7 a.m. or something this time zone. Though I think they rotate them sometimes. Anyway, but they happen bi-weekly. What happens is that there is a Zoom call. The link to that Zoom is posted on that Gitter channel. Anyone with an interest can join in. The other thing that happens is that they are live streamed on YouTube as well. So you've got your troll box of the public, but the public aren't flooding the actual Zoom itself. So you can comment, but you can't have random hundreds of people's not muting their mic and being disruptive. So basically,
we did originally have that problem.
Yes. So it has been kind of segmented, but it's only a hidden segmentation in that anyone can go to that Gitter channel. It's just that your trolls wouldn't know or care to do that. So anyone with that interest, absolutely join the calls. If you have things to comment, you know, you can sit within that Zoom, and maybe you don't speak, but you're commenting on the not complete troll box, the insiders box. Or if you have things to say, speak up. I mean, the thing to know about that meeting, though, is, you know, you have got quite a lot of people on it, so individuals can only really get the opportunity to say a small amount without flooding it.
Yeah.
And there is an agenda, and you're going through the agenda, and, you know, so, you know, any other business is at the end. You know, it's quite a strict meeting structure, but absolutely people can participate. The best way of getting an impression of the kind of things that are discussed in those meetings and seeing if you feel you can have value is if you go to GitHub Ethereum PM, which is project management. There are markdown files which are showing both the agendas, and notes are later published transcribing exactly what was said. So you can actually go through, you know, all of the prior meetings and see, you know, kind of how it goes. You know, some of it, when you're not near a hard fork, is quite kind of operational and boring.
Yeah.
You know, going through each client, any updates, yes, no, talking through the details of particular EIPs.
When it gets to the hard forks, I actually do watch it then. So.
At the hard forks, you know, that is really where you have this altruistic technocracy at action of really that group of people kind of having to come to consensus between themselves on what's going to be in and out. Yeah. So at that point, you get a broader engagement. Away from the hard forks, it's really just the client devs talking to each other about how it's going.
So I guess I would make a recommendation. I guess I would probably join, probably not during hard fork time. Yeah, because you will definitely be noticed when you show up. So you know, just given the history. So yeah, I would. So I guess that's the advice. Yeah, join it during not a hard fork time.
I was just going to add to Bob and Virgil's comment about the core devs meeting. So it is a tight agenda. You'll probably get shut out if you're not on the agenda. Ethereum Cat Herders runs that pretty tight. Your best way to probably get noticed is go on Gitter. They will probably try and shut you down, especially during the hard fork times. So you have to get noticed somehow and get a core dev to support you. There's a couple core devs. You know, certain guys are responsible for certain things. You can talk to me outside if you want to address this further. One other thing is if you want to get a true sense of what's going on, you can download the transcripts. If you go into transcript and just copy the text out, the minutes tend to be very short.
Hey, what do you think would be like an ideal sort of relationship in terms of like Sharia compliance in the Middle East? Like, do you have like maybe like collaboration together and trying to, is it more like them trying to work on mainnet or like smart contracts or dApps?
I mean, I presume it's mostly main. Oh, okay. So originally, the thing that I was imagining this to be used for is to get Sharia compliant dApps. Mm-hmm. You know, because I guess corruption's kind of a problem. You know, I guess kind of everywhere. And they're kind of strict about what they do for their financial services. So they say, oh, well, first have a Sharia compliant dApp. Your base layer has to be compliant. So okay, so we got the base layer compliant. So now I guess hypothetically you can get your dApp compliant. My advice to do this is to go talk to these Omani guys. Yeah, here you go. Then talk to them. I presume they would know people, I guess, investment funds or banks that I guess are that strive to be a little more religiously strict. And you say, oh, well, you know, can you introduce us? Yeah, so there could be some consulting opportunities there if some of you want to go hang out in the Middle East. All right, now I mean we gotta have Don.
In the vision that I explained yesterday, the idea is for Ethereum 2.0 to secure the state on ETC, not the whole network. But if that doesn't happen, and that's a long-term vision, But if that doesn't happen, do you see a way of dApp developers having their dApp running on Ethereum 2.0 and the state of the particular dApp or smart contract to be secured on ETC?
So I know you've proposed this anchoring thing before. That's going to be a tough sale, man. Like that's going to be like, I mean, even if it's a good idea, which I'm not even sure it is, like that's going to be a tough sale. Okay, so I recommend we start with the smaller one first. The idea, I definitely do think there is a niche. Well, okay, so we'll use the Tor example. So I remember I talked to some Tor people, and and they were like all about ETC because they say, oh, this is like these people are stubborn like us. And I'm like, they are, and yeah, and they say, in the best way. Yeah, no. So I guess philosophically, like on board, how exactly to do that technically, I don't actually know. Cosmos is kind of the first thing that comes to mind, just because they've just been around and they I mean they seem nice enough. So.
But I mean on an app by app basis.
Yeah. That'll be on an app by app basis. I guess if you. Yeah, I presume you want to be on an app by app basis, because I presume if you want to do this interchain thing, I mean, there's of course going to be at least some performance penalty for this. So you have to say, oh well, okay, what I'm doing is like so hardcore that I'm willing to sacrifice this performance penalty for doing the interchain thing with ETC. So, okay. Well, all right, everything seems good. No, nice seeing y'all. Like ETC is looking great. Keep on, just keep doing this, and tolerate the questions.
Can you do a photo?
Oh, sure. Oh, sure. And during the intro phase, I mean, fully expect you're going to get some, kind of aggressive questioning,
Some Peters.
Yeah, you're going to get some. I mean, regardless who the people are.
Yes.
And I mean, just
so Donald, you've got
just try and be nice.
You've got to
Just try
stop
and be
needling
nice.
Peter. We need him to like us.
Just do your best for 4 months. Do your best for 4 months. All right. Anyway, no. Life is good. Life is good. All right. Thank you, Bob.
Cheers, man.
Okay.
Oh.
We're done? Okay.
Thank you very much, Virgil.